You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Nick Sperry.
I'm Andrew Kouba.
And I'm Dwight Lindsay.
And we have lots to discuss on this special episode, including the recent Windy City trials, the Torchlight G&H System Open in Ontario, Canada, and as well as all things Worlds. We have the XWA Organized Play Planning Lead here with us, Dwight Lindsay. Congrats on your new role, by the way. It's fairly new at this point, but thanks for joining us to talk shop.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's good. I haven't had a chance to really talk to anyone about the new role yet, so excited to be here.
Yeah, you've been kept busy, my friend.
Non-stop. Oh my gosh. It's a busy time, but a good time.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, as we like to say, right? Like
Yes.
it's good to be busy. It means that things are in motion, things are happening for the X-Wing community. But yeah, behind the scenes, it is. I'm a part of the prize team now as well to try to help with prizing, and it's just there's just a lot happening all the time, and it's a little chaotic. But we're looking forward to Worlds, and look forward to talking about that a little later in the show. Gentlemen, I hope you guys have had a good New Year so far. I know that we're uh, really 3 weeks in, basically into the new year. This month has gone by really fast, and yet also felt like an eternity. I almost felt like, wow, like it's just going to be a January is going to be like 90 days, but it's also like near the end of it. It's kind of a weird feeling. Chicago's been keeping us honest. It's like almost negative 50 something, or it will be, over where Dwight is in Canada. Soon to be our 51st state.
It is hometown.
Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. Someone's gonna complain about me making that comment, but hopefully not. Hopefully their sovereignty remains intact after this episode. But I hope you guys are all staying warm. How was your new year, though? How's it been so far, the first few weeks of 2026?
Yeah, good here. My family, we're pretty busy. I took the wife up to go visit my folks for a week, and we came back and then celebrated Orthodox Christmas because half the family's Orthodox, so January 7th. So it's like you got a little bit of a break in between, but yeah, you get hit with like double holidays, and my dad's birthday is right before Christmas. So it was like busy, 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 and then had a few days off before I had to go back to work. But blessed with busyness isn't a bad.
I agree with that. Yeah, my New Year's I spent a lot of it just had a low key New Year's just being sick with whatever flu is going around
Oh,
globally. But I'm better
that
now.
sucks.
So we're all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the and this is a story. This is not meant to scare anybody away from getting. You should always get your flu shot. I got the flu shot. I got the COVID
Oh yeah, me
booster,
too.
and my girlfriend was like teasing me. Is like, I can't believe I'm dating an anti-vaxxer, because I just hadn't got my flu shot
No.
yet, and I was like, all right, like, well, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, so I went and got everything.
No, good
And I
for
was feeling
her.
totally fine, but then like the antibodies went to war in my body overnight, and I got the flu for like 6 hours, couldn't sleep at all, felt terrible, woke up feeling okay. And it's
Yeah.
just like kind of crazy to like experience how that whole thing works in your body the way that I did. It's interesting.
It's the weirdest thing, right? Because like you feel so sick for like half a day, and then you wake up the
Yeah.
next day and it's like nothing ever happened. You're
Yeah.
like, what was that?
Yeah. And then people are like, well, that's why I don't get the flu shot. I was like, no, it's proof that it works. Ah,
Yes,
get the flu shot
right.
unless you can't for some reason, but it's important.
The flu shot just protects against the deadliest mutations of the current flu. That's all it does. So if the flu doesn't mutate that way into like a less severe version, then you can still get the flu. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was a quite a tumultuous 24 hours, but
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people are experiencing this strand of the flu, and it's knocked a lot of people out for a couple of weeks. So if you are sick, I hope you feel better, and if you're not sick, just stay safe and stay
Yeah,
warm,
same.
especially here in a cold place like here in Chicago. Well, let's talk about Conquest really quick, and then we'll dive into our tournaments that happened recently. So the 312 Conquest series is back. We just opened up tickets. Again, this is a online tournament series that will go through the end of the year. We're doing 4 qualifiers in 4 different North America time zones, a couple of months apart, and we'll have a global conquest at the end of the year. just like last year, we'll have a top 8, including roll down invites handed out to those in the qualifiers to compete in that global conquest to determine the grand champion. Shout out to Eric Kingery, who was on our last recording, our last episode, who won the grand championship. So he is our reigning champion right now. But yeah, I mean, Andrew, you played at a bunch of them. It was a really great time. Excited to bring these back, and once
They're so
again, we
fun.
can raise money to help support X-Wing and the X-Wing Alliance doing this. So make sure you guys get your tickets. Link in the description to the document that breaks down how the Conquest series works. We'll kick off the first one in April with the next Windy City Conquest. So make sure y'all hop in if you have the time. All of the dates have been announced. So um, for those of you that say there's a random bank holiday like selfie day or something, I don't know. Plan accordingly.
Yeah, no, they're just so much fun. So I really do encourage like anyone who can join to do it. It's just like a good time. It's a great way to meet people in the community too. We've had a bunch of like new players jump in during this last Conquest series too, and it was just such a heartwarming environment. So
Yeah, they were
seriously,
so grateful to play. I was like, "Oh," like, it reminds me why I do this sometimes when you have new people that you don't know who are new and join and be like, "Oh, I had so much fun. I can't wait to play again." I'm like, "Yes.
yeah,
Yes." Like, fires me up a little bit.
yeah,
As
for sure.
new players excite the hell out of me. We have a newer player named Sean. He's been playing with us for a while locally,
Yeah.
and, he won the Fang Fighter raffle, and then the X-Wing, the Rebel X-Wing core set, like the AMG one that has the 4 ships, Steven Weiland won and then regifted to Sean. So it was kind of fun to see Sean get drowned with. It's like you're borrowing stuff to play the game, maybe not for much longer because now you're drowning at all this X-Wing stuff. But yeah, that was fun. It's exciting to get new players into the game. So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, well, we're gonna quickly talk about the Windy City trials, and then we're gonna go over, Dwight, to you and talk about your System Open. A lot of thoughts on the System Open series and how they kind of evolved across the different regions and continents of America, of sorry, the world. Um, and but we'll start with the Windy City trials, New Year's edition. Andrew, you were able to play in that. How was it for you as a player? And we can talk about how it all went.
I mean, as a player, I had a great time. Had a wonderful record. The only game that I lost to the champion. It was a very close stream game, and it was definitely a fun switch. Like this is the first in-person tournament I think I've played in a long time because I've been doing just so much on TTS. I mean, I really love the in-person play, and it was just great to kind of stretch those muscles again. Also, such a fun time with like a great group of people just hanging out too.
Yeah, we also had arguably the greatest participation prize for a tournament that you could have. I'm gonna say arguably because I'm sure there's
Oh
contenders.
my god. Yeah, because like you had made. Hopefully, we can get some pictures and stuff up on our Discord. But you had made points counters, and they had a magnetic initiative token that you can slide between them too. Uh, they are the perfect like weights and like tactile feel too, and I you're not gonna like bump them and like move the score around too. It was honestly like one of the reasons that I was just excited to even show up was just for this participation prize. I'm excited to bring it to Worlds. It's so cool.
Yeah,
That
pulling
sounds
up a
pretty cool.
picture on Twitch right now. For those who are watching the cast and who watch it
Yeah,
back.
it's these really nice like
It's
laser cut like acrylic set that's all like magnetized. But the magnetic initiative tracker that really just seals the deal and making it something that I think could be sold in stores.
Yeah, it's Strata Strike is the ones that made these for us. Shout out to my man Mark. We've been partnering together and making prize support together for like I want to say 4 years now, maybe 5. I've bought stuff from him dating back to pre-COVID. If you think of wood templates, have you ever seen those really nice wood template? He's the guy that does those. But he does a lot of acrylic stuff. And when he said, "Hey, I've got this new thing I've been working on, the score counter," he sent me a picture. I'm like, that's like that meme. It's like this is delicious. I'll take 17 right now. It's like, but I ordered way more of this. I was like, give me a 312 version, and I will. send you money immediately. And so cut us an amazing deal to have these for our tournaments. And you can go onto his Etsy site and you can buy them. You can buy
Oh,
one of these.
never mind. Okay,
So
it is sold in stores.
yeah, it is sold in stores, yeah. It's just not the exact ours I'd say is, pretty cool and gonna be, the only way you can find it is if you win in a giveaway, but he has a non-312 version that you can buy. So if you're looking for a score counter, again, if you're at a tournament, you do need to keep track of points by writing it down, but these are really nice way, especially for casual play, um, to be able to kinda all in one keep track of your games in an easy, fun, and accessible way. That's
100%.
something that is, we play a lot of games casually. And X-Wing tournaments are, fewer and farther between than your game nights. So yeah.
Better than the way that I usually keep score casually, which is on the back of whatever grocery store receipt is in my pocket.
I mean, hey, at least you're keeping the receipts for that reason. I just throw the receipts out. But Dwight, if you want to do me a favor, I want to include you in this conversation. You obviously weren't a part of this tournament, but if you want to take a look at just like the list, and if anything stands out to you, even if it was, no matter where it placed, and I'll throw it over to you in a second. I'm just gonna talk about the winner of this event, and then if something kind of fun stands out to you, let me know. So final tape, we had 4 rounds of Swiss in this one. We had 18 players, so we didn't end up having to do a final table. We usually do 4 rounds, and then 2 undefeated players play final table. We've also played it where it's one undefeated and a 3-1 have done final table. But at this rate, it's like, we're playing with, we have the bounty puck. It's still before the system opens are officially over. So we wanted to make sure that we did this correctly, and we have a true winner after 4 rounds, and that's the way the math shook out. So it was Copper, Blue, John, and Jared facing off final table. CIS versus Empire, two of the stronger factions uh, in the game right now. CIS and Sun Fac though seems to be steady for sure, and very
Yeah.
threatening. Jared he's the winner of this tournament, spoiler alert. He brought Sunfac with targeting computer and snare, gravitic deflection, and predator. General Grievous had impervium plating, outmaneuver, and soulless one. And then we had some droids, DBS 404 with landing struts, proton bombs, and plasma torpedoes. DBS 32C, that's the one that can spend a calculate to choose a friendly ship with network calculations. And you can that ship can be coordinated with landing struts, energy shell charges, and Kraken, and then DFS 311. Lots of token passing coordinating between these droids with the struts, Discord missiles, and independent calculations. So, 5 ship CIS list, pretty modest in terms of, CIS known for the swarms. 5 ships, pretty decent. You get your aces, you get your droids in there, kind of a nice little package. Um, Jared played you, Andrew, earlier in the game. You guys had a really low scoring close game until like the last round, and then you guys both scored like a combined like 25 points or something.
Yeah.
Um, how did that game go? And how worried were you about Sun Fac with your list? Because he is really threatening.
Super worried. So I mean, I was flying a 3 interceptor Reaper and a TIE fighter like Empire list. If Sunfat gets initiative and I'm only rolling 2 dice on those interceptors, that makes my list like very fragile right away. That was our game was so super close, but Sunfac was always a part of my calculations like every move. One of the reasons why our game was like so low scoring at first is just he's got thicker ships. My ships, like we had all of these ships hovering near half points, and then like the last turn everybody's half points kind of procced. And also too, it takes time because when playing in person we had to do a lot of arc checks. If you go watch the game back, you'll see there's so many bullseye checks, arc checks in the middle of this like crowded area. So that took up some time though too. I've been playing against CIS lists, I think, for the like most of the time for the past like 3 months, and I think this like Sunfat Grievous Kraken Carrier combo is definitely like one of the strongest lists in the game right now, and it's been a tough nut to crack. For that game, the first turn that I set up, I was like, I have to if I can get Sunfac off the table, that will like really help me out. I was in a position to do that, and I was very fortunate. I positioned all of my ships just outside of range 1 of Sunfac. So he wasn't able to pass his token. Got him down to half points, but my dice were not with me. Couldn't finish the job through, and that Sunfac ended up coming back, getting half points on Soontir, which was a huge, like factor in the win later. Um, Plus, at I6, it kind of makes you, if you have a lower initiative list, you have to factor in trying to catch Sunfac because it's so maneuverable and can just dodge arcs so easily, that can put you in positions where you'll have ships that aren't taking shots on anything if you guess wrong. And yeah, I mean, it was a super like tough, close game, but and Jared also like flew it extremely well. And then also you just have like some of the survivability with Kraken, being able to just hang out in the back and then just give these extra tokens that these droids are able to keep. So they're essentially can be double modded every turn too.
Yeah, the energy shells I mean, they can come
Oof.
out of nowhere and hit you really, really hard.
Hmm.
I feel like they're easily forgotten because droids, we're never going to be intimidated by a vulture droid until they fire a, hit crit crit with energy shell charge. Or like,
Yeah.
crap. Like that's retro. Dwight, you've played a CIS quite a bunch, especially when we were playing, in the AMG OP. When I You played CIS at LVO, right? And you probably played at other tournaments as well. What are your thoughts on Sunfac? Then and versus now, and how CIS is performing?
Well, I think with CIS, they're kind of like how First Order used to be. I think it's very like location dependent to where you see like the frequency of their use. I know like in my area, you don't see a lot of CIS, and if you do, it's usually not Sunfac. It's usually like the fire sprays and Grievous and different combinations of that. But the bombers, even the typical Vulture droid swarm, I don't see a lot of. I think they're starting to come out now. Like, they had their peak when XWA first came out and everyone was cursing, their CIS name for the first few months, but then they took a bit of a dip and I think they are coming back now. I'd like to see more of Sunfac personally in the other Nantex, but that's just because, I'm sick like that. But
Hmm.
I do think for Worlds coming up that Sunfac is definitely a ship to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I agree. Like if there's nothing changes in the points, I think we're gonna see a lot of Sunfac at Worlds.
Sunfac, I wish I got more reps playing against Sunfac. I've played just a handful of games. I feel like everyone else has played way more than
I was
me.
gonna say, yeah, I don't
Grant,
know if you do, but yeah, it's good for practice.
it's just it's a good challenge. And Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where you can feel just how easy it would be to take him off the board, and then he, takes the ship that you would do that damage with, and he throttles it all over the place, and you're like, well, never mind. I guess not. Um, Copper Blue playing Empire Final Table. John, in his Roll Better affiliation, still listed as the 312 Squadron unpaid graphic design intern. But we're really happy with the unpaid work that he's been doing for us for years. Shout out to John for just helping design the shirt that I'm wearing, the world shirt, and the Conquest logos, and the X-Wing Alliance logo, and everything else. So, um, we love you, John. And I was really rooting for John.
He's crushing
Jared
it.
has won a Windy City Trials before, and I
Mhm.
really like Jared. He's a great dude. It was
Great guy.
great to see him come back out. He hadn't been playing in a while. But I was really pulling for John because he's been at final table at our tournaments before, and
Yes.
it just didn't work out. He had a Darth Vader. This was the standardized loadouts. Hate There was the hate ion missiles and afterburners Vader. He had Battle over Endor Soontir, Wampa with precision ion engines, and then Death Rain, kind of that linchpin piece that can kind of do crazy things with expert handling, trajectory simulator, thermal detonators, ion bombs, and delayed fuses. And honestly, I think without being too hard on John, I think why he didn't win this game, and I think based on the way the game was evolving, I thought he had a really good chance. Was just that his Vader was like often not rolling 3 hits; it was getting like 2 hits, and it's especially at range 3 can be tough to get anything through. And then he had a chance to one shot a droid with Soontir, and he boosted forward and still had the range one shot, but instead of focusing, and then he could have just repositioned with the ability out of arc. Um, and so he took an unmodded shot, essentially had a couple of rerolls, but couldn't take DFS off the board, and so there was just some moments where there's just not enough damage coming through, and Jared's Sun Fac was not really doing much damage most of the game till towards the end. So John was able to play around Sun Fac pretty well, but just not enough for his aces to be able to pull this one out. So it was still a good game. He'll get that dub soon. We'll just rig it so that he can get to final table again.
No, that'd actually be a good match to watch. Like looking at the lineup there, that'd be so interesting to see on the table against each other.
Yeah, right? I know, it's like 2 very unique archetypes, but both matched up fairly well. I think Jared would say, "Well, Death Rain, I could put a lot of damage into Death Rain with my list." And then John would say, "Well, I could one shot or one round half the list with my aces." So, um, yeah, it is on paper, I feel like a little bit of a toss up, but I leaned Empire just because of the spike damage that those 2 ships are known for.
The problem with putting all of your droids up against Death Rain is also that he's just gonna throw an ion bomb at you.
Yeah, yeah. He ionized himself, which was unfortunate in that game. I think
Bummer.
yeah, but yes, that is true. Yeah,
I was
the
gonna say
ionized Troy's being ionized, they're not
they
fans.
do not like that. Yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you, Dwight, anything stand out? Any list where like, oh, that's interesting?
I did take a little peek, and there was a CIS list by Paul, number 8. There, he was 8th, with the Grievous, Darth Maul, and Jango Fett. Just because, on paper, to me, this doesn't seem like the best idea as a Separatist player, but sometimes I crave violence, so it does pique my interest. Standard Grievous, standard Maul in the Infiltrator, and then Django with the Contraband, Cybernetics, Proton Bomb, Savage, and Composure. It's 3 ships. Even with the scenario changes, I do feel like it would be a little lopsided for the objective play, but I don't know. It's Maul at least has the double tap. Putting a fire
Yeah.
spray in there without a double tap, that I'm not sure of, but that's the suit to taste kind of thing. But I'd be interested to try a variation of this list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tasty for sure. That would have been a fun one to have on stream as well. So unfortunately we didn't get that one, but I love Paul. Paul's a good dude. Well, guys, let's want to move on to the Torchlight system open. Does
Yeah.
G and
All
H
right,
stand for what does G
games
and
and
H stand
hobby,
for? Games and
games and
hobbies.
hobby.
Got and hobby. It's one single hobby. No, not more than
Probably an S
It's Torchlight Games and Hobbies.
there.
okay. I think hobby would be funnier if it was just like we have archery here and a bunch of games.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So Dwight, you were the TO for this one. How did it? I heard you guys had a good turnout. You had a decent amount of players show up. How did it
Oh
all go?
yeah, it was a great turnout. It was a lot of work planning and going through, because usually whenever I host anything myself, I always like to overdo it a bit in prizes and things like that. But we ended up with like 45 players, which was great. I think that might be one above the highest one to date in North America, but I'm just happy over 40. That to me is solid attendance. We had like great faction representation around the board. Like our lowest was like 4 for a faction. We had like Empire, CIS, and First Order at 4, but Scum, Rebel, and Resistance like 9 lists each. Like I like that, seeing that little bit of diversity there. Sometimes
Yeah.
Scum and Scum just not taking all the lists. But no, it was a 2-day event. We know we did 5 rounds of Swiss on the Saturday. I have recently purchased 2 3D printers, so I printed out all kinds of things like templates,
Oh
cardboard
wow.
holder, dice towers, token holders. Participation was I 3D printed a full Mando set, the base plate, the dial cover. Everyone got one of those. Some Cloak of Aid tokens that Cam
Very
Murray
cool.
printed for me. It was just trying to give stuff out as much as I could, and then on Amazon, I found these golden scratch tickets, like golden tickets, like Willy Wonka there. and you could customize them. So I had like different like spin the wheel for a prize or pick a blind dice bag, and I was handing those out like crazy throughout the event randomly, or if like yeah, I saw good sportsmanship, would hand them out, and it was really good. But the only problem was is when you run an event like this where you're trying to give out prizes and do little side things, you usually need a helper, and unfortunately, my helper ate the wrong gummy, I'll say, in the morning,
Oh
and ended
no.
up putting him off
Oh,
course for the rest of the day. So I was
that's
kind of running around by myself, but my good
oh
friend
no.
Greg Chandler Burns, who was our judge for the event, he took the reins and just made sure everything, all the calls got answered, all the questions got answered, and did a lot of running around for me. So big shout out to him for supporting me that day.
With the golden tickets thing that you force the players every time they beat their opponent, they say, "You lose, sir."
Well, nothing
It's like
quite like
Willy
that.
Wonka.
Last year, we're in Canada, we're all about sayings, like when you do that whole resistance card where you put the
It's
ship
the
out round
resistance.
four,
Yeah.
you got to yell out it's the resistance. The Canadians also have this thing when you roll dice. If you roll two hits, two crits, they call it socks and sandals. So you like yell that out as loud as you can, and
It's so interesting.
Oh, that's
yeah,
fun.
things like that. Or if your opponent turns away from you, you got to call them a coward.
Yeah, 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 we do that all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a universal thing for
Oh
sure,
yeah.
the coward taunting. Um, yeah, I'm trying to refamiliarize myself with Longshanks here. It looks like Rathos played, which is cool and made top cut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um,
He's one of
Shout
my
out to
locals. He'll come out whenever he can.
Council Rathos, Mr. Councilman himself. Um, Reese James, is that right? Am I looking at Reese as the winner here?
Yeah.
Is that
Oh yes, Mr. James. And that was another
Undefeated.
good thing about the event was that we, even though there was a snowstorm, a few of the guys from the south came up. We had a couple from New York, New Jersey, and Oregon. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
James came up and he whooped everyone. It was good. I know that like
yeah,
James is
fully undefeated.
yeah. Oh yeah, through Swiss and cut, which
yep,
is quite rare these days to see.
absolutely. No, that's very impressive.
Who wants to read out his list? I have it pulled up here on Twitch.
Yeah, sure. All right. So he starts off with one of my favorites, Dirge in the Rogue class with marksmanship, proton cannons, contraband, cybernetics, and deadman switch. I actually seen him use Dirge's ability several times, where you turn a hit to a crit to cancel another hit to try and reduce the damage. I've seen several games where he did that, and I thought I was like the only person who did that. But it worked out well for him. And then the big surprise in his list was Lando and the Falcon. So he had the Mandalorian, the Child, BT1 engine upgrade. So basically, he can reinforce, he can shoot. He's not throwing a lot of red, but he's a large base. He's like circling around the board doing his thing. He's hard to kill, but can still be a pain.
And he's regenerating the child force.
Yeah, if you don't shoot at him, he gets the force back. If you do shoot at him, he gets the force back. It kind of gives
Yeah,
you forcing your opponent to make one of those decisions.
that's a fun build. Wow.
And then he had Tyranny Kaluta in the Kimagula fighter. So that's the one where if you're in bullseye after an attack, you either have to lose a green token or take a damage. And then to top that off, you put snapshot on there. So the ability to try and trigger that twice a game or twice around, quite good with R5 P8 for rerolls and Babu Freak. So at one point in the game, you can do that 4K and still take an action. And then Guri with Lone Wolf and Advanced Sensor. So basically, just making it so you can never block Guri, and Guri will just dance around you the whole time and make you feel like an idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Advanced Sensors
wow.
Guri that does harken those memories for sure. I remember trying to I was so bad trying to play Advanced Sensors Guri, but Dan Peterson from the Midwest Scrubs, he doesn't play X-Wing anymore, but he was the absolute fiend mastermind playing Advanced Sensors Guri. And I remember for a while they took away that slot was the sensor slot from Guri, and he was not happy about it. That was years ago, and now it's
Well,
back.
maybe we can taunt him to come back now that the sensor slot's back on. I was gonna say this is a really cool list, and also I don't think I've really seen a Tyranny on the field ever, so that's exciting.
Yeah, when you get that ability off, especially something like Snapshot, where you're getting it off multiple times, it's like lose your token, take a damage. Lose you're forcing eight, and you're a medium base, right? So you have a little bit of,
Yeah.
what do you call it, like area ownership. So you are forcing aces to maybe double reposition or reposition out of the way and not take tokens. His list was something crazy. Like I remember after the event, like a lot of the discords blew up. It's like people thought like Canada had a bunch of crappy players. It's like, how did this list win? I don't understand how this list wins. And then some people have been like breaking it down on how you fly it and that, which was
Yeah.
pretty nice. It's like it's just something totally unexpected that only a guy like Reese could pull off.
No, this is extremely cool. I was gonna say the way the snapshot works too is you take the shot after they're maneuvering, so they might not even have a token yet. Like that could just be free damage.
Yep.
Let's talk about so Evan Cameron is the runner up here in cut. He had a four ship Empire list. Uh,
Yeah.
in
Aces to the
SSP
T.
Vader. Yeah. Whisper, this is custom Whisper. After playing the SL Whisper, it's hard for me to imagine playing the more fair, adequate, and still really good Whisper, which
Yeah,
is
it feels
custom
so
Whisper.
clunky. Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean, it's just the other one's just so busted. It's just like so mean. It's funny though, the amount of games I play with it, which has been like a relatively small sample, I never got to throw away target lock, and I thought I'd be able to do that a few times, but people just don't bother to lock you anymore. It's like, well, that's nice too. It's just a deterrent.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, with this Whisper with FCS, Fifth Brother, and Targeting Computer, the fire control system, that is something that for the longest time you could not put on Whisper, but to be able to have access to that, wow, I mean, still very good.
Mhm.
Uh, Soon Tier fell. That's Battle Over Andor Soon Tier. Another example of, the other one is really good, but like, why when you could play the one that gives you everything and anything and everything and is harder to kill? And then the Obsidian Squadron pilot, of course, the GOAT with precision ion engines. That is Evan's list, the runner up at this system open. Four ship, three ship, four ship Empire really holding its own.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say there, Evan. There, he's one of the top players in Canada. He's not well known outside of Canada. Some people do. It's just family life and that kind of prevents him from traveling. But he plays online. He's been part of Team Canada a few times and XTC, and he's for us locals there. He's kind of like he's the guy between him and Cam Murray. They're the ones that you want to beat for prestige at our event.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he had a super impressive run too, and then also had the highest strength of schedule on the day as well. So to go through that gauntlet and get
What a
second,
run.
like, yeah, like extremely impressive run.
Dwight, how is you did two system opens last year or and this year combined three?
Traveling wise, I went to Nova, LVO. Where else did I go? I went to the Calgary System Open. I think there was one more, but it's been a couple of months now, so at least three anyway.
Yeah.
It's been good seeing like different numbers. It's been interesting trying to make it to as many events in North America as I can. Seeing how the events attendance have been. We've seen some really good numbers. What I call good numbers for us is like, over 30. You can do 5 rounds of Swiss with like a 3-round cut. That's kind of like the nice, feels good tournament bracket. The only one where I think we really had the low attendance was LVO, unfortunately. And there was a variety of issues with that, with with the venue, date change,
Yeah.
things like that, where we kind of saw a dip in the numbers. But other than that, overall, like I've been happy with it. Been happy with the fact that we haven't seen like the same meta at every SO. There's been a lot of interesting lists. I think that one that you went to in San Fran, was it there? That one had like some of the most interesting list compositions we've seen that I don't think anybody was expecting.
Great tournament until the very end when I got stranded in Oakland, but I got That was a really fun time though. San Francisco is just a cool place, and like where Michael, my host, where he lived in the hills overlooking the city. I mean, it was just like the most awesome like San Francisco immersion. So yeah, that was a great time in terms of experience from streaming. Really great games. Yeah, like you had said, the list. Like we had full tie swarms with Howlrunner back. We had like stuff that just reminded me a lot of 2.0 in terms of variety, and like that's always good in terms of like the variety that we got from 2.0. If there's anything that an accolade that I would give that version of the game, it would be variety of list building. And it's nice to see that. That's important for, I mean, from a content creator perspective, but also just from the health of the game. No one can really argue that. If you're arguing against it, I don't really think you're trolling me or rage baiting me, honestly. I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it's important to have that and have make sure people feel like they can build to what they want to build and not build to what they have to build. And that was really the difference between now versus maybe some of the towards the end of the AMG, where it's like, well, you can choose from like three factions, the others you're probably not going to do well with. And it's like, well, now choose what you want. What do you like to play? You could probably build something competitive out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you look at the comparison, right, to AMG days right up until the end, right? 3 months after a point change, people were bored. Like it was just like that's it. Like the peak efficiency was found. You're starting to see the same list after 3 months in every event. Where once XWA took the lead, even with the 20-point system, it was still taking longer for stuff to flush out. And now we've gone a pretty long time with just minor changes, and we're still seeing random stuff pop up winning events. It's like
Yes.
it's a big thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the looking at these tournaments, like that's the one takeaway is barely any two lists are the same. You just have so much diversity in list building and list building that's also performing.
Now, you know, Dwight, you mentioned a little bit about just want to go back to talking about turnout because I think it's important to talk about. I've had a lot of conversations with TOs, who have reached out to me, be like, hey, can you promote the event? I'm really worried about the turnout. We've got, a system open, we've got 18 people registered, we've got 20 people, we've got 12, whatever, across the board. Um, and so I think tempering expectations right after the game has been, kind of officially sunset from AMG's hands and handed over to XWA. I think there is a little bit of a realization that a lot of people have stopped playing X-Wing right now, at least, and so I do think that everybody probably had, I mean, we should always have high expectations, but I think, like, what's realistic given kind of the environments, that we're in right now and the kind of a bridge year. Last year was a big bridge year to kinda trying to get back on track. I'm curious, if you've evaluated the OP season overall as a success, which I think you should, and I believe you do, but, you might look at America, United States, and be like, well, how could it be a success? You're not, you don't have really big turnout. The biggest turnout's like in the mid 30s or so. Walk me through it a little bit. It's through the OP planning lead now. I have my thoughts, but I think you should feel good about, this first bridge year.
Yeah, thanks. So when we initially planned this OP season, we tried to set our expectations back a bit, but I think we still set them kind of hard. We started off with like squad championships coming out, and we're like, we want 16 people to make these like certifiable for the buy, and then we got instant feedback from the community saying, I can get 8 people. Like, and a lot of communities were saying that. So we're like, okay, let's temper back our expectation. It's like, we'll make the kit for 16 people, but you only need 8 to make it like as a certified XWA squad championship. And it was the same thing with system opens. We were like, oh, 32, like let's go with 32. And then we realized, let's drop that down to the 20s just because it was we were getting feedback from the community right away, and we took that feedback and we ran with it. We updated our documents. We just tried to be more in line with what the players wanted, because as much as we wanted, as much as we were hoping for big numbers, we had to set back our expectations a bit. But it was good. It was humbling for me. It's always good to know, like, and listen to what the people want. And I do think it was this OP season was a success because just going to all these events, I think I've been to over 20 tournaments if you count system opens and squad champs and regular events. And all I've gotten really is positive feedback. People just happy that the XWA is there, keeping events alive. And I get contacted from people all the time too. So I've been trying to, look at things like numbers. And, I think there's information I could take from there and use to help improve our OP system going forward. So, looking at next year's OP after Worlds, we're going to take that feedback and we're going to make some adjustments. We noticed some things like squad championships with over 20 people, system opens with like in the high teens. So we're going to readjust, maybe introduce a new level of organized play in there just to, have a tournament, a sanctioned tournament that fits the numbers people have in their communities where people can have an event that they want basically, and not like, oh, I need to buy extras for this kid or I need to buy this kid and like downgrade it. So we're going to come up with basically a multi-tier system for people, so a TO can be like, I think I'm going to have this number. It's like, perfect, we got the right kit for you. Here's where you sit in our organized play thing, like our circuit. And we're going to continue on with things like that, and we're going to keep our buy system in place where when no matter what tier that you play in, you're going to be able to win a buy for the next tier above you. And all of this is going to cascade leading into hopefully another Worlds next year.
I think this is me putting a little pressure on you, and I
Okay.
ultimately I think that splitting them into adding an additional tier, it makes sense based on turnout, but I'm I'm skeptical. I think it's like in terms of if it was necessary. So I do support this, but I also was not. I didn't. My mind didn't go there when thinking about like how can we. I was over here like, well, we should just focus more on store champs and then do some small, a few big tournaments. But you guys, you've decided to add another tier, um, or think about adding another tier of tournament play, right? So
Yeah. Now, the thing to keep in mind with these tiers, it's going to be released soon. We're only, I think, a month or so away from our press release on this. So you guys are, anybody who's listening is getting early spoilers. But when you think of the tiers that we're going to have, you got to think that we're going to have different number requirements for what you see now. So, system open, I think we said anywhere from 22 to 32 players. Well, now we may want our system opens to be more of a higher tier event, so that you might see less of them, and then another tier come in that bridges the gap in between system opens and squad championships with a much broader number. So when you think system open, you might be thinking going forward will be of a more prestigious, higher caliber of
it's more sounds like more work for the prize team.
event. Well, that's why we got you, Nick.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I pitched my idea.
Yeah,
We're
but
just gotta get through the red tape.
in reality, as a result, there could be less of those higher tier events than what we saw this year, and just more of the middle tier events that we're thinking about introducing.
Yeah. I mean, even with the Conquest series, it was pretty humbling. Like I call that a success as well. But like when we did the European or like Oceania time zone stuff, it was like not nobody showed up for those in those areas. It was still a lot of American players, which I really appreciate. But I had to switch away from offering those time zones because it's like when you have six people from the UK and Europe playing in a tournament and I'm up at 1 a.m. and not getting any sleep. I'm like, well, is it worth it? So it's been a really good litmus test, I think, with online from that perspective, but then with what XWA has done with organized play to really see where people are at. It's almost like a really big, like immersive focus group where people are still playing the game and playing in tournaments, but there's a lot of valuable data that we need that we're gathering and figuring out, okay, where do we pivot? Where do we move from here that makes sense? Um, and so yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this, but worlds could look potentially could look different. I think that we're open to that's the best thing about being a part of this group is that we're all very receptive and open to general and overwhelming feedback on where on making changes. We're willing to make those changes. I think sometimes it can be really frustrating with anything, with when everyone says we don't like this or we want this instead or this should be different and then they don't do it. And it's just like, well, what's the point? Like listen to the people. But that's what X-Wing Alliance is, by the people for the people, right? So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. And that's what I think is going in our favor when it comes to running the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also trying to deal with like the biggest thing I notice with OP too is such the difference in attendance and the amount of events between North America and Europe. Like it's trying to come up with a system that caters to both is
Yeah, I
challenging
mean,
at times.
Dwight, is it fair to say that Europe is just so much better at in-person play right now than North America? That's my take.
They are, but they're a lot more organized. Like they have their community reps, I'll call them. They really work hard. They organize like even during the AMG area, they like you look at places like Poland, they organize their whole organized play structure on their own. Like they had their own internal system for playing with like
Yeah.
squad champ system opens. Like they were ahead of the game before anyone. So I think
Yeah.
and I know we're going to talk about worlds here in a bit, but it's kind of like what we need to do the XWA going forward within worlds this year at Adepticon is we need a lot of external focus, but I think we really have to focus internal too and use the player base that's at our disposal and try and like reel them in hard to support the event.
Yeah. a thousand
Yeah,
percent.
I agreed, and I think what North America has going for it, and you're just plenty of European players playing online, but the online play for North America is tremendous.
Yeah.
The amount of people who play, and it's easier to do. So, but the in-person play commitment in terms of commitment level and total turnout numbers, yeah, Europe has got it down. And I mean, you revealing that information about how their system being so organized, it makes it make even more sense. But Sit Taker Open sells out immediately, right? Like an
Yeah.
event that size, if I tried to run an event that size here, it certainly wouldn't sell out in like 2 days or 24 hours. It would take a while and it would be hard to sell out right now anyways. But I'm excited to be a part of that. I'm gonna be there
Oh,
next
nice.
month. And yeah, I've got a trip planned, a trip to London, and then I'm going over to Sit Taker Open at the end of my trip and hanging out and streaming with Tim King and crashing at his house. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm really actually really excited to see just exactly what that looks like in person, that meta, that community,
Yeah.
the English folks that they're known for their X-Wing, their love and passion for X-Wing.
I was going to say one final note on that though too. I do think a lot of it does come down to geography, where there's a lot of players that I talk to online who their big complaint is that their closest game store is 2 hours away from them, and you just don't have that issue in Europe, like in some of these European communities.
Yeah. Hop on a
Yeah.
train. You're there in an hour. You're good.
Hmm.
Yeah, and our tournaments, we've always sold out of our tournaments. I mean, like granted we can't fit 40 people in a space, we can fit 22, but like there are a lot of communities where they steadily for their tournaments they get like 10 to 12, and I still think that's pretty decent. That you can do
A
enough with
hundred
that for
percent.
sure.
A
But
hundred
we've been
percent.
very fortunate that we're being in Chicago, we pull from Michigan, we pull from Indiana, we pull from the suburbs, and there's a lot of X-Wing players still in the Illinois suburbs.
Hmm.
And so people are definitely willing to travel a few hours. Joel Springle is a great example of someone who will drive like 8 hours for an X-Wing tournament. I mean, the dude is
Yeah. He's
crazy.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's committed. And so, I think there's not as many of those people around anymore. I think burnout is a very real thing. I struggle with burnout, and I don't stream every day, and I purposely do that to be able to manage it and to be able to keep coming back with the right attitude and put in the kind of work that you guys deserve and that that meet my own standards. But with being a part of XWA and being a prize lead, being an OP lead, being a PR lead, a council, everything, it's a lot of involved work, and it's
Yeah.
really hard not to burn out. So it's I definitely, what I recommend to people is like show up when you can, but if you want to take a break, um, pick a couple of tournaments, plan it out, don't like just map it out for yourself. I always feel a lot better when I can kind of schedule things in advance and have something to look forward to than if I have to decide 3 days in advance. Am I going to this? Can I go to this? It's so that's I think one way to kind of compartmentalize it. And I'm not advocating for people not playing by any means, but it's important for the longevity of the game that if people feel like, hey, like, man, I don't know if I can keep up with playing in 3 or 4 leagues or playing in, every tournament that's within a 2 or 3 hour drive of me. And like, that's okay. Just, balance things out so that you can keep coming back and when you do that you want to and that you feel like it because it's a game. So,
Oh yeah.
um
No, that's so
if you
true. Like I know in our area here, because in southern Ontario, we got several little cities that all have their own groups, and I try and work with all the TOs ahead of time to like come up with like a community calendar just so people can like see the events out. In our Ontario calendar, we got events going up to June right now. It's
Oh,
not
nice.
like full
nice.
rate packed, but it's at least enough around there where we have some charity events, some team events where people can plan around them, and then other game stores can see like, oh, maybe I'll fit in like a squad champion here or that, and then at least people can plan around it and book vacation if they need to. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's
you can
great.
plan for an event, it's a lot easier than just like,
totally.
oh, which one's popped up this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to say this is gonna sound I don't want to come off too complaining when I say this, but I don't think we've realized just how bad it's gotten with purchasing airfare. And so when people are like, "Hey, I have a tournament in 3 weeks, 4 states away, can you go?" I'm like, "No," because we gotta plan these things out. I mean, just the airfare, it's shocking nowadays, and if,
Yeah.
if you wanna know where you're sitting and checking bags, you add another 20% to your fare, and it's a lot to manage, but that's another thing too, is like there it comes to your advantage when you can plan things out, especially if you have to hop on a plane to go there. You have to if you want to be able to actually purchase airfare that doesn't make you scream out loud and internally as you're pressing proceed to check out. You know, um, that's just kind of where the world is these days, and so yeah, just I think just be my recommendation to everyone is to be honest with yourself. Um, about just where you're at. X-wing is supposed to be good for your mental health. It's supposed to be therapeutic. It's a competitive fun, whatever you make of it. If you only play casually, then it's just a fun time, right? But even when you play competitively, the competitive drive is thrilling and it's fun. Like Andrew, I saw you catch that bug. You got locked in. You played in the first conquest. You're like, I'm back. I'm coming back for the one. I'll be up at 1 a.m. Like I'm coming back. Like you're like, I love this, right? It's just like you get that taste
Yeah.
and that's what it's all. You just want to be mentally in the position where you can get that bug and you can get that taste, and you want to keep coming back because it takes you on a really fun ride. And um, yeah, it's challenging right now, and I think me going on this long-winded conversation about this, it ties back to why I think we saw some of the turnout take a hit with the events, especially in North America. It's just because I think a lot of people, they're not ready to quit on X-wing, but they really want to take a break. And so I'm hopeful that we can establish a system um, for the next OP season where people have they've taken that break. They've, if hopefully they go to Worlds. I could definitely encourage you to do that. There's nothing like it. Every time you end up setting foot on Worlds, you're like at Adepticon, you're like, I'm so glad I'm here. So I think that we'll see that pendulum swing back a little bit, but that's a big reason, one of the many reasons, the biggest that I think we saw turnout take a hit. It's just that people are just feeling a little burnt out. You know, eh, this is the first time I've experienced a game that I love being, not officially supported anymore. And we're very grateful that X Wing has the resources that it has to keep it going as smoothly as it has been. But it's hard. I mean,
Mhm.
it's nothing feels the same anymore because we've never been here before as an X-wing community. This is all new to us, and X-wing had been around since 2012. That's a long time. That's 14 years ago, almost since the game came out.
I was gonna say any game lasting more than 20 years is incredible. Like that, I think that just shows the staying power of this game and this community, like that what it has.
Yeah, and I think if any game can survive, it's this game. There's nothing like this game. There's just no replacement for it. I mean, like Armada and X-Wing are companion games. They're very different in so many key ways, but they both got similar treatment. And if anything, Armada got much worse treatment, but they ended up in
Yes.
the same position at the end, right? Neither deserved. But there's nothing like X-Wing, and I think I would challenge people who say this game will never be officially supported again. I just think that there's just it's always possible a game like this because it's so irreplaceable that maybe someday it's we've seen it happen with other games. It gets picked up, but the X-Wing Alliance, you guys are in good hands. It's just it's a challenge. It's we're basically filling the shoes of a company when it comes to running a game without being a company and
Yeah.
not getting paid for it either, right? Like it's all volunteer work for the goodness of our hearts. And I'm not saying that anyone should get paid, but in a perfect world, everybody gets a little something, right? For their hard work.
Yeah.
Everybody, players, everybody. Yeah. But anyways, I digress. Let's move into Worlds though. Let's talk about Worlds. We've name dropped it several times. I think it's time that we just freaking talk about it. Dwight, you have been one of the key people in contact with Adepticon. We've officially launched our ticket sales for the event. Can you remind us and walk us through the events and what you can do and expect for X-Wing and Adepticon?
I know it's been kind of said through chatter on the main Discord and that, but for all of you who don't know and listening, I am the event organizer for Worlds this year. It's been very, very nerve wracking trying to fill the shoes of Mr. Chris Allen, who I respect so much, and who basically he's one of the key guys who taught me how to be a tournament organizer, tournament structures, and just how people talk about Worlds. It hit hard on me, so I've been working around the clock to basically try and make this an event that every X-wing lover will appreciate. So basically, tickets are on sale. Our first event is going to be on Thursday, the 26th. So we're going to have Heat 1 of the main event. So it will be 4 or 5 rounds depending on attendance, and based on that attendance, we'll have a certain record that you need to hit, whether it's 4-1, 3-2. We'll make sure people know ahead of time what it is. SOS will not come into play. We in XWA like clean cut records. We don't want any feel bad moments where 10 people with the same record, but only 2 of them get to go on. So whatever we decide on, we'll make sure it's clean and fair to the players. As well as on that same day, we're going to have like a Swiss side event pod, 4 rounds. That way people can just play their games and still enjoy the rest of the con, go out and chum with people, because that was one of the main feedbacks I always got, and I experienced myself at Worlds, was never felt like you had a lot of time to do other stuff, because sometimes you're starting at like 9 in the morning and you were there till 9 at night playing X-Wing,
Yeah.
which is good and all, but you want some time to break and enjoy.
Like brutal being a Gen Con.
It's like a gauntlet. Like, oh,
It's a gauntlet, but it's also just such an incredibly large place, like event, and you
Yeah.
can't experience any of it. It's like, ah!
I know. So we realize that, and we just want to make a better experience for the players. And whether you're in a heat or a side event, it will be different pricing for whatever you're going in. I mean, like Heat 1 and Heat 2 people will be going for the same prize because that's just like a different day. But if you go into a pod, it'll be different events than the heats. And basically, we're going to have Friday Heat 2 and Swiss Pod 2. So the same format as Thursday. Then Saturday will be basically, the first day of cut. So the top players from Thursday and Friday are going to go on to play on Saturday. And depending on attendance, we'll have a certain record you need to achieve there to go to Sunday. A lot of it, I know I wish I had more concrete answers, but it's really based on attendance. That's why, we're pushing hard to get people to buy their tickets now, because it is the players that will set the tone of the event. The
Yeah.
more players it is, the more competitive of an event it will be, and we will adjust the numbers for that. Yeah, so buy your tickets. Also on Saturday, we're going to have a doubles event. We're still,
Yes.
Ollie's been working with me on this to try and find the most fair, unbroken a way of doing it because we don't want like double Boba, double Defender Vader in there. So nothing's been confirmed yet, but
Oh,
we are looking at maybe a 3-ship minimum between you and your partner kind of thing. It might somewhere floating around the 46-point marker for your team. We'll have all this in the player packet, hopefully ironed out soon. So we just figured if we didn't have some kind of guidelines in there, half the list will be double Boba, half the list will be double Vader Defender. So we wanted a little bit of variety in that, but we're hoping to firm that up soon and get that out to the players so people could have fun doing some list building ahead of time. And then that will just lead us up to Sunday where we have our final cut for it. Ideally, in my mind, a 3-round cut on Sunday is what I would like to see, but numbers will dictate that. And yeah, and we will have some other side things going on, non-ticket things. Like I believe Doug's coming back with that trench run. Uh,
Yeah.
Another person who's asking me about setting up a side thing with Lego. So I'm just checking with Adepticon. It's my first year working with them, and some people are like, "Oh, I can bring this, and this," and I'm like, "Well, I got to check with Adepticon because we've already had some tables cut back because we're in a room with our mod, and apparently our mod is doing quite well on ticket sales. So
Great.
wow.
they
Good for them.
Adepticon
Yeah.
has reached out and said, okay, we'll give you like we're just going to take one roll of tables off. Now I was quite generous when I told them the numbers that we'd need. It was much higher than what I actually expected, but
Yeah.
still, eventually that's going to come into play because at Worlds people had casual games. I
Mhm.
always see Epic every Worlds. People just
Yep.
bust out Epic and start playing. So I want that free space in there for players to do what they want as well. Yeah, so
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
it in a nutshell. As for pricing, well, I think that's better left to Nick than me. But
Well, we're working on a lot of prizes. I'm actually kind of added a couple more to an already, exciting spread. Dylan Jones is the prize lead, and I've been working with him closely, and I've been grateful to be able to be looped in on this. A lot of stuff has already been decided. We're really kind of in the weeds now on getting final deliveries, final prints, final productions on everything. I think the big question people are going to ask is, will there be dice? I will say that we have been looking into that. It's been something that we know is important for X-wing players. It's just such a valuable piece of participation prize that you know it will always be used and treasured and will excite players. So I could say that we're seeing what we can do, but I wouldn't expect participation prize dice. That's not something I would expect. Um, it's just based on volume and the time that we have. However, we are looking into bigger options moving forward into the next OP season as well. So just look out for announcements and all of that. Um, I'm personally, I'm speaking for 312 Squadron when I say this, working on manufacturing more of our stream dice, which are up to spec down to the polish and weight and facing that the official FFG AMG dice have looked like. So I'm working on that. There's, figuring out exactly what's possible there. And I'm also pleading with XWA to be like, maybe guys, if we can, get a larger order, we can consider making these available for players at some point. But again, none
Yeah.
of that is set in stone or guaranteed, but I'm trying. So we are putting in the effort that we're in the places we need to make you guys happy. Yeah, there's a lot like Dwight said, he decided to make it harder on us and have another round of prizes for another tier of tournaments. But that's we're figuring out. I think base plates, like custom base plates, are going to be a thing that we can look into doing more often. We've
Those are
got
cool.
those with the
Yeah.
Mandalorian. We with Patreon have made amazing base plates. We've done Stomarani, we've done Theta 3, Zeta 5, The Mandalorian, Echo just recently. So that's another thing that I think would be valuable for players, and especially for those who don't have the base plates, period. Just where can we give people something new with utility that is cool all at the same time? And that's what we're focusing on. I think
Yeah.
that was just enough information to provide without tipping the boat too much, Dwight.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I will add is Adepticon does have a storage locker full of old AMG, FFG prizing. Basically, think of every Worlds there's ever been, and think of leftover prizing has been given to Adepticon. So Adepticon has told me personally they're gonna sort through some of the stuff, put it in a box, and give it to us to kind of give out to players as prizing or
Cool.
whatever. So I don't know how much. All
Yeah.
Adepticon said was that they want to make sure that X-Wing is supported for the future at their events. So, but we will have some stuff that you can win or we'll give out there from events past.
I want to make sure for those listening that they don't get too excited in the sense that if you just said every Worlds it's ever been, remember Adepticon has only hosted Worlds for a
Oh
couple
yeah,
of
yeah.
years.
Sorry.
So, okay,
Yes.
that's okay. I just because people start to think about
Thank
like
you.
the silver dice and the clear marble
Oh
dice, like,
yes.
oh, like yeah, I just like
Yeah.
temper
Thank you for that
those
correction. That is
expectations.
true. That is true.
So yeah, it used to be in St. Paul was where it was separately of Adepticon. So I just wanted to clarify if
Thank you.
maybe that was the way it was, but just in case it was not actually that way. Yeah, no problem. Dwight, let's talk about. Well, I do need to. I think I'm going to address the elephant in the room in the sense that this is the third is it the third world championship now at Adepticon? I'm trying to think. Fourth, third, right?
Uh,
23, 24,
20
25,
yeah,
six, fourth.
21, yeah,
That
went
wasn't
from or
worlds though.
22, yeah, went from
21.
22 to 25, so 3.
We've had three so far. Okay.
Yeah.
So this will be the fourth. Worlds, has been held at Adepticon for, a few years now, right? Um, and I understand that moving from Schaumburg, which is near Chicago O'Hare, easy to fly into, to Milwaukee is challenging for those who don't, even challenging for those who live domestically, but especially who live abroad.
Mhm.
Flying into Milwaukee, you probably have to connect. It's harder. And then there's also it's just not the best time right now for people to feel comfortable traveling. And so we
Mhm.
recognize that without getting too political. I 100% understand why somebody would not feel comfortable with having to, disclose a lot of private information to get into the country or anything like that, or they just don't want to. Um, Expensive or because of that. So this isn't us saying, it being at Adepticon is just a continuation of what we've done, what X-Wing has done the last few years, Worlds being at Adepticon. And so, we're not making any sort of statement being like, oh, it's just going to be, it's all about America. You come here, that's where Worlds is. We're certainly, reevaluating what Worlds looks like if it's maybe split up into continentals or if the location moves outside of the United States. People have been asking for that and asking about it, and Dwight and I have both been listening to that feedback and taking it seriously. We haven't made any decisions yet, and there's a lot more to talk about later on. But we hear you. We understand. Adepticon has all of the resources and the attitude towards us and the love for X-wing to have made this decision really easy to have it at Adepticon. We would have been really, really, really far down the ladder when it comes to getting things to where it needs to be if we didn't have Hank at Adepticon being a bro and helping us out and getting us set up for success. So that's another key reason why this is, if you're wondering why is it in Milwaukee again, blah, 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 blah. It's just all of those things. So Dwight, I'll throw it to you, but I just wanted to mention that like we understand we can't do anything about the current world's climate. The way politics are, it's not great for anybody right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Politics aside, as we kind of talked about earlier, the in-person X-wing population, a good chunk of it's in Europe. So, in all fairness, with a world organization in charge of this game, it would only make sense to recognize that
Mhm.
and come up with a way of appreciating and showing our appreciation of that. So, like you said, whether it's a change of venue one year or just even continental championships, intercontinental championships, who knows, like maybe there's like a hybrid you can do where you have these continental championships, and like let's just say for the sake of argument you have the winners from those events in an online tournament if possible. Everything's on the table. Like, we want to make sure that the X-wing players are happy, no matter where you live in the world, and we want the highest tier event to be accessible for everyone. Is our goal. So that's what we really want to see achieved, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the next few months after Adepticon, and seeing what that looks like and how we can manage that. The key thing for me is what I've expressed to everyone is Worlds to me is not a single event.
Mm.
You're not gonna, even if it did move, you wouldn't bring it to some event and do, okay, we're gonna do like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday main event. That's it. Like, it should be multiple heats over a few days. There should be side events. Like, it's an experience more than an
Mhm.
event. And that's the key thing I just want to make sure is maintained, no matter what decision is made about it.
To paraphrase the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, it's a new world order, and it's time for the X-wing community and all of the ways that it's played and enjoyed to come together.
You're awesome, buddy.
I think you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for that, my friend, or a FIFA Peace Prize, whichever one I can get my hands on sooner.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, well said. I'm really excited. I just 312. We're obviously we talked about we're streaming worlds. I'm doing a lot of preparation. The banner, the 10-foot by 8-foot banner arrived. When I was leaving my apartment, there was this really, really massive tube. Like, it looked like it was like a piece of construction, like that you would like a huge, like, oh, this is for the building, like a piece of infrastructure.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that was my poster. So when I came back, I was like, oh, so I could barely fit it. I couldn't fit it in my car. I could barely fit in the elevator, and I took it out and I unwrapped it, and I was like, wow, this looks really good. But my apartment's not that big without any furniture in the way. I couldn't like fully unwrap it. So I looked at a part of it. I'm like, this looks awesome. Rolled it back up, and then realized, well, I can't put it back in this tube. I can't take this with me
Oh
to
gosh.
Milwaukee. So I had to fold it like 4 ways. I'm like, well, hopefully the pulleys when we set up the banner on the actual stand pulls the creases out. But I'm like, I gotta fold the thing, and then I
Right.
bought a massive duffel bag to be able to put the banner in. And it's getting real now. I'm like, now I have, I have some more equipment. I want to buy an extra capture card, some new cords, just really make sure that we have everything that we need to run 4 days of seamless, knock on wood, X-Wing coverage. It's going to be a huge opportunity for us, and I'm very honored to be able to. I'm really proud of the way our stream looks and just where we've come. So I think you guys are in for a really high quality experience, especially visually with all of the 4K Sonys that I have taken out 12th mortgages on. Just kidding, but just over the time bought for this stream. I'm using a new camera right now, streaming on Twitch as well, and so just super hyped. Um, there's some extra pricing I'm working on bringing, like 312 specific, like for first come first serve pricing for attendees. So yeah, we want to incentivize people to go. I know I've talked to a few people who have not yet gotten their tickets. I think so far, Dwight, the early immediate numbers are promising, but you always worry about kind of like the trickle period where it's just you only get a little bit at a time. We still have some time, but really, yes, get your tickets, register, plan out your weekend. Lots of hotel and Airbnb options. I will say Airbnbs get swooped up the closer you get. So if you can, stay, crash with 5, 6 other people, you can spend way less than you would in a hotel.
I will also want to add into that too. If you are coming over from other countries, if you do fly into O'Hare, I know that last year there are trains that you can take from Chicago to Milwaukee, and there's also buses as well. And I know a lot of players who attended last year said that it was fairly easy to get to where they needed to go in Milwaukee through the trains and buses.
It's only like an
Yeah,
hour and
that's a good
15 to
call.
an hour and a half away, right?
Hmm.
Generally, it's not
Yes,
too far.
not that
Yeah,
bad of a follow trip. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good note, Andrew. Appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, so we're excited to see you guys there. Dwight, I assume, I mean, I have to assume you're going to be there. You'll see both of us
Yeah.
there. You'll see Andrew there. You will see all of us there. yeah, you always travel. It's just like it would have to be something catastrophic if you were not able to make it. But I have to figure out who else from XWA is planning to attend. I know there's several people. I think Tim King is one of them from Sith Takers who will be joining. So yeah, it's gonna be great to see everybody. And I'm gonna be tired after the end of it. I'll be like, time to nap, time
I
to
was gonna
sleep.
say, yeah, you just need a spa day or something,
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
and an
exactly.
X-wing, a purge, yeah, for a
I
little bit.
almost made the conquest, the first conquest, the next weekend. I'm like,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
I
No.
absolutely not.
Yeah, that's just
I get a
masochistic.
week off. I get a week off. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
masochism right there. Well, Andrew, I'll throw it over to you to do our outro.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode and continuing to support us here at 312. We are thrilled to bring you Worlds coverage this year at Adepticon. Also, be on the lookout for announcements regarding our next team league and sign up for the Conquest series. We have links in the description. And if you're not already following us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, you should. We have links in the description as well. And 312 is excited to be producing exclusive alt art cards of featured new XWA pilots for their patrons. And they also have very cool base plates and other stuff you can get too. So consider supporting us on Patreon and get rewarded with some awesome swag. And then lastly, we are proud to be sponsored by Infinite Arenas. Head to Infinite Arenas to get your fix of X-Wing compatible components, including accessible card printing, physical game assets, and much more. Once again, that link also in the description. My name is Andrew Kouba.
My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Dwight Lindsay.
And thank you so much for being here.